Hello. Hello. Nice to see you, nice. Comment allez-vous? Oui, ça va. Très bien. Attendre. Je regarde et there is a problem with my video. Je ne sais pas. I just got a message from YouTube. Problem with video. I don't know what to do. Let's have a look. The viewers will experience buffering. If I switch this small for a while, that might help. So welcome. If this is your first time to live stream, let me inform you of the way it works. The way it works is that you write to me through Skype. I sometimes read the YouTube chat, but most of the time it's through Skype, and then people can call in. I watched this funny TV show the other day where they were trying to describe Skype and they couldn't think of the name Skype, so they said, that made up word. I thought that was funny. Not FaceTime, the made up word one, Skype. So Skype, so if you download Skype and you have an account, then you can send me a friend request, and my address is Lisa Cairns 12, which is in the box below. You can see it there. And then you can either call in or you can write a message. But if you call in, please have some form of earphones with a microphone in it, just to make the sound quality better and that you've got good enough internet. And you can also write a question, and just be aware that it's going to be posted on YouTube after. Yes. What else? If you want to subscribe to my channel, then I'm going to show you how, as I haven't done it for a long time. This is for the younger generation that are absolutely hopeless at the internet, and this is how you do it. So first of all, you go to my YouTube channel. I've already subscribed to myself, so I'm going to go to a different YouTube channel. So you go to Lisa Cairns, you type in Lisa Cairns, and you go to my channel. I'm just going to go to any YouTube channel, and I click on it. And you have to be signed into your account, and you just press the big red button for subscribe. And then there's a bell next to it, and then click on the bell. And then you also have to, once you've clicked on the bell, go to settings. So you first of all go to settings, and then notifications, and just make sure you've got all the notifications turned on. And then when I go live, you will get an email into your inbox telling you about uploads or when I've gone live. So that makes it nice and easy for you. And I am back. Capture. And is there anything else one needs to be aware of? Yeah. Oh, my events. That's something that you need to be aware of. My next event, I'm going to try to do a event in London in December. As I am back in London in December, the end of December. But my next event is in India, a retreat in Tiruvannamalai, India, which is the 13th of January to the 20th of January 2019. That's a 7-day retreat in Tiruvannamalai, where Ramana Maharshi lived. And I also do talks the 6th to the 12th of January. the 24th to the 30th of January and the 2nd to the 8th of February. And I do the first talks in Theory of Anomaly, so I'm there for 2 weeks. So I do 6 days of talks and then 1 week retreat. Then I do 8 talks in Goa and then 8 talks in Rishikesh. Just nice. Yes, very nice. And I'm going to try and do a talk in London. You can also subscribe to my website, but until I update my emailing list, you know, there's all these laws with I can't send out emails, which is quite simple. I just have to do a few things to sort out, to send out emails to people. As you can see, I'm very dedicated to the advertising side of my work. It has been something like 10 months since I sent out a last email, I think. Or I tried to send one out, so some people got it, and then I realised that the other half of my emailing list wasn't ready yet for GDP, whatever it is. Yes, yes. Hi Lisa, video and sound are starting and stopping, very disruptive. Yeah. I don't know what to do about that. Maybe I can lower my resolution. Let's have a look. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to go back to my starting soon video, and I'm just going to see if I can lower my resolution. 1 second. I will be back in 2 minutes. You can listen to the beautiful music. Andy, there's a problem. Yeah, and off. It's not a problem for you. They don't know. No, it's a bit quick. We gotta be really quiet. God, they don't hear us. Only joking. I know I had it on before. I thought I had it off. This is a problem with the dubbing of the microphone. You get all confused as to what's what. I think it's good quality at the moment. I'm not sure why it's not working so well for some people. Video seems to be working fine here. Yeah, I think it's working fine for some people and not others. It's working fine here as well. It's the internet. The internet is this amazing thing that nobody really understands how it works at all, but we all use it and think that we understand it. But it could be that the little green men have stopped working in certain areas and therefore the internet is lower. You know. Okay, so back to mischief. Lisa, it works perfectly here. Probably they have problems on their side. Thanks, David. Actually, I do have a message from YouTube saying there is a problem as well. Oh, it's back to normal again now, it says. Okay. Yeah. Suspicious. Okay, so normally when I start my online talks, I normally like to do 10 minutes or so sitting in silence. Some people prefer not to do that because maybe they've got a really busy life and they haven't got time to sit in silence. So if you would prefer to watch edited videos, I do. There is somebody that edits videos and edits my videos and uploads them to YouTube, and I think it's called Video Clips Lisa Cairns, and it's an associate channel, so you should be able to find it linked to my channel. And that's really great if you just want to watch edited clips with none of me messing around and saying silly things and going to the toilet and sitting in silence. It's all edited out, so it's nice bits of the talks. It's really grateful to the person that does it. I'm so happy they do it. I've wanted to do that for a long time, but I haven't had time to do it. So that's very cool. Okay, now to the silence. Namaste. Sorry. Maybe give people a jump. There is no story that you could possibly tell yourself that's going to satisfy you about why you're alive or what your motivation is. Did I say job or story? Sorry, sometimes my mind is very ditzy. So there's no story that's going to satisfy you. When you live in a story of what's coming, of what you're going to achieve, of what you're going to be, you're living in this story of you that's going to arrive somewhere. And you're actually missing what's happening. You're sacrificing what's happening for a dream of something that's going to happen. I'm not talking about not planning, not organizing your life, not orchestrating your life so it flows. I'm talking about these stories where you are going to get there and you're going to arrive. So maybe you're hooked on the enlightenment story, like this really dramatic story, and I'm not into it at all, the enlightenment story. Like I don't even know what that is, the enlightenment story. Like all there is what's happening, and if you're hooked on this drama, like, yeah, I'm going to achieve it, I'm going to meditate for 15 hours per day, I'm going to do this, I'm going to be like Maharshi, and people are going to come around and kiss my feet, and I'm going to become enlightened, and I will have achieved it, and I will have made it. And if your day-to-day actions are as a result of telling yourself that story, your life will be missed. You will be missing your life. You will be missing your life. Your life will be lived in imagination. Sometimes I teach people to use the imagination to help pull them out of dark emotions, negative stories. But at the end of the day, the freedom is in what's happening. In the hand on the table, the sight happening now, the sounds, the feeling, the damp, the warmth, the joy, the sadness, the thinking, whatever's happening, this is your home. But if you're always living in a story of yourself, then you're not here. You're in a false reality. And you're going to keep hitting up against life because life doesn't match the story that you want to be living in. And some people, they live negative stories. They always think doom's coming. It's like an energetic thing, and their story's always telling them of what disaster is going to happen, the bad thing that's going to happen. And sometimes the human fluctuates between both, the negative and the positive, always waiting for its life to start or for it to happen. Like, it's going to happen, I'm going to make it, or I'm not going to make it and I'm going to fail. And when we're doing therapeutic release, it's good to try and encourage the mind into positive thoughts and stories, but that's not freedom, that's stories. Your true freedom is present. It's got nothing to do with what you tell yourself, whether you have good or bad feelings or good or bad conditioning. It's here, it's present, it's empty. It's that which is experiencing the person that likes or doesn't like something, that believes it will make it or not make it. It's right here. And it's not about you trying to be here. It's remembering that who you truly are is beyond that person and is here. The person can never be here. The person only exists in time. Who are you? Like, who are you? And notice that you can only ever know you when you think about you as a person. Like right here, as a person, you don't exist. In the intimacy of the moment, there is only everything, and everything is what you are. And no matter how many times you tell yourself you're something better than everything, or something more than everything, or this individual that's not good enough or good enough, you're still here. There's still this conscious perception of what's happening. Has it never not been a conscious perception of what's happening? Have you ever been alive without being conscious? I'm not talking about personal consciousness or personal awareness where you're like, I like this sofa. I like this view. I am a lady with blonde hair. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about conscious perception that's conscious. So right now you're listening to my words and you're not putting any personal awareness into listening to it. It's being perceived quicker than you can think about it or interpret it or judge it. Just like this room is being perceived quicker than you can, or this wall is being quicker perceived than you can think about it, judge it, or have a personal awareness on it. Like, let me just study that bit of white wall there, and that bit of white wall over there, and her blonde hairs, There is something that's conscious and knows that. And have you ever been without that consciousness? And that consciousness actually isn't something behind, even though some teachers teach that because it's really hard to teach. And it's not something in front, it is everything. Consciousness is who you truly are, is whatever's appearing. And that consciousness also comes with this sense of I am. Not I am a person, and not that sort of I am your consciousness of an I am, this sense of existence. Life also has this sense of existence. Even though I talk about the I am, I don't mean something that's conscious of the I am. That's still something personal. I mean that sense that this is, that you are, and that's the love side. And one has to come with the other, like the yin and the yang, the empty looking and that sense of love, of I amness, of beingness. Some people have complained that when I do my voices that I'm mocking people with handicap problems, and actually I'm not. I'm actually doing a very posh English accent. So I just want you to be aware of what you think of posh English accents. So if you hear I'm doing a very, very posh English accent, but maybe if you haven't, or don't know English dialect, or you can't hear that, but in your mind it makes you think of someone that's handicapped. But I'm not mocking handicapped, I'm mocking very elite society in England. They tend to speak like that, a little bit like, what's that, Monty Python, that's the one. I think it's Monty Python, yeah. Boris Johnson. If you're English, you know what I mean. All right, son. So to me, the personification of the posh English, the personification of the ego is a posh English accent. Okay, back to the subject. So, what was the title of the talk today? We must go back to the title. The title of Boredom and Always Needing More. Yes. So boredom and always needing more. So I feel that boredom comes from a cutting off of the love side of life. Like it's like the I am presence is love, And it doesn't mean that you can't have like, oh, this is boring. Like, you know, if you go out and you're playing a game of table tennis and you're playing with someone that's really rubbish and can never hit the ball back. It's always like ping, oh, and they've lost it again and they've got to pick it up. So you might describe that as a boring game. I'm not talking about that, but this disinterest and dissatisfaction, this lack of vitality with action, this comes from this disconnection of this vital energy of I amness, of beingness. It manifests in the person as like a lack of interest. And this comes from a repetition of your stories. So who you believe yourself to be. So most people, I can tell you, believe they're not good enough. And when you're telling yourself over and over again, you're not good enough, I'm going to fail, things are going to go wrong, you might not even be conscious of the story, but your body is uncomfortable. What you might be conscious of is like difficult thinking, where you're projecting onto people that they're an asshole, or you're an asshole, or why did they do this, or why did they behave like that, or like how much you hate your job, or how boring your partner is. And I would suggest that it's often a lack of vitality, that you're really removed from what's happening. So what's happening has to be of high excitement to give you pleasurable feelings, to make you feel good. So it has to be of high excitement. I sometimes think this about pornography. I'm not opposed or pro pornography. I am undecided about pornography. I as to whether it's good or negative for our society. I don't know. I haven't researched it enough. I think there's nicer porn and not so nice porn, but that's not my point. I'm not talking about the politics of porn. I sometimes think with sexuality, like that the person needs like really aggressive porn, sometimes when they're so cut off from their like sexual organs, like, so it keeps going further. So it's like really aggressive and nasty porn, and then it goes even further because there's a cutting off from the feelings in the body, and you're really living in a story, and you're actually orgasming or getting excited from a story you're telling yourself, and from this very high excitement and heightened excitement, which is needed because you feel quite dead. But it's the same with lots of activities. When you're really cut off from that sense of being, then you need really heightened activities in order to make you feel really excited or engaged with life. Like there needs to be high risk or high odds in order to excite you, rather than the detail. God is in the detail. What you look for is in the detail of no thing and everything. So somebody just said consciousness is within the me, personal awareness is, but there is something that recognizes that person with personal awareness. So some people say self-conscious or consciousness, like it feels like you can see that there's somebody that's watching. That's not the consciousness I'm talking about. I'm talking about the consciousness that is everything, that cannot be perceived as a thing. I'm talking about the appearance of things. In a way, you could say there is no consciousness, there is only everything. Or you could say consciousness is all things. I'm not talking about anything personal or anything that the person can see or know. It is. And that consciousness is empty. The same with the beingness and the love. They are the same, this one aliveness that's everything and no thing. Everything and no thing. I got a little ee. I got a little ooh. Is there anything else that we need to say this evening? About boredom. Every pleasure, everything that you believe it is, isn't it? Everything that you believe it is. Anything that's for you, isn't it? It's beyond that. This isn't a personal thing. I'm so happy to help you with personal issues, because if somebody that's listening with personal issues listens to this, then they'll begin to try to use non-duality to fix their personal issues, and that is a disaster. When the person personalizes non-duality, it's a bit of a disaster. But non-duality isn't anything personal. It's nothing to do with fixing you, being a better version of you having it, of you knowing it. It can have effects on the human, and then the human thinks, I'm very peaceful. I am super enlightened now. But that's to do with you. Non-duality has nothing to do with the person. It's not about you getting more of it. Who is this you? Who are you? Who is this person that always thinks it's going to get somewhere? There's nobody that's existing. Who you are is beyond that. Who you are is what's always here, what's always been, which is everything, everything. It's such a joke. You're caught in a lie. You are caught in a lie. There's nothing that's true that your mind says to you. Everything that you experience is yourself. You're walking through yourself all the time and labeling it other, got to be afraid. It's just not the person. The person's meant to be or appear as if it's separate. But what is always here, and that is experiencing. That's everything. What's always here is experiencing, and that's who you are. That's love. I love you, baby. Who are you? Who is experiencing all of this? Who? So a thought comes up, an idea comes up. And there's a belief that that's who you are, where who you are is this perception of all things which isn't separate from everything. And it's empty, it has no back on it. There's nothing that is that. There is nothing that's at the source of this world, and nothing isn't a big black hole or something negative. It's nothing found in this world, but yet it's everything. It's nothing that you can grab hold of and go, this is the source of the universe. It is the universe. It's everything. This is everything. The universe experiencing itself. And it's also this sense of being. That's the two things that are always here, that never leave. No matter where you go, there's always perception, and there's always this sense of existence, this alive presence, that this is, and that is home. You look for your home in exciting events, in you being more successful than your neighbor, in you having a really beautiful young woman, or owning this or owning that. But these are fleeting things that come and go and give you a high, like an ejaculation, and then it's gone. And then you try and base your life on that. And as you get older and older, you're like, oh God, I've got to masturbate all the time in order to feel great. And you're never, ever going to be able to sustain that organized orgasm. So in the end, you'll end up being disappointed. You'll be like, I can never achieve it because I can't do it all the time. Once I was talking to this guy that was addicted to, I feel bad. This person, I'm talking about someone behind their back. This person liked a lot of sex. And then I said to them, would you like to have an orgasm forever? Is that what you'd like? And their answer was no. Of course it's not what you want. You don't want perpetual orgasm. That would be uncomfortable. Hey, there's actually a documentary on the internet of a woman that has perpetual orgasms, and she's in hell from it. What you want is, this is what's happening. These are pleasures that come and go. You don't want this experience. You want freedom. Experiences are never it. You're just sidetracked by the high, like a drug addict, like, I've got to have a high. You don't have to have a high. This is enough. This is enough. The person's always busy looking, something better, something better, something better, something else, more. And the many more years you do that, the more boring and dead life comes. You forget about the joy and the wonder of it being, the fact that it's really freaking amazing that I'm sitting here talking to a computer and so many people can listen in their house, although it's not really happening, and it's really miraculous. All these colors that are in front of me, and the light and the sounds and the quietness. And the fact that I can go like this, boot, two, and I and na. What is it again? 1, 2, something. I am gonna affirm war. And we all know what that is. We all have this imagination that can remind us of what that is, but yet nothing's ever happened. We're just here in this moment, and all these things and images and sensory perception come in, and we think it's real, and it's not real. It is what it is. It's an experience that's not really happening. How is it happening? How can you grab onto the past and the future and say, oh yes, we got the past, we got the future, and it's really happening? How? How is that happening? It's happening and it's not happening. It seems to be happening, but it's also like, how can you ever hold on to the past or future? So if you can't hold on to it and prove that it's actually happened, how do you know it has happened? How do you know it's not just a thought that's appearing in your imagination? Because I have photos. How do you know the photos aren't just appearing now? You never hold on to the past or future. You only have now. And then you're like, oh, well, I've got to be in the now. Who's got to be in the now? Who? Who has got to be in the now? Who are you? You can only ever think about yourself in the past and future. Oh, I came into this room and I'm going somewhere else. Is that who you are, or are you this? I get excited sometimes. I do apologise. I love this subject and I love speaking about it and I love sharing it. And who is this I? God knows who. You could say God loves it or nothing loves it. Nothing is speaking this out. It doesn't even matter about your language. I tend to use personal pronouns because, that's what everyone else does. But now we're trying to incorporate they, and I'm really not sure when I'm meant to use they because I'm not sure if I'm going to insult someone or not. I thought I saw a they this morning, and then my friend told me quite clearly that you can't presume, and that's very rude. I don't know. Eventually we should just all become theys, or we can just totally eliminate pronouns. Our conversation without any pronouns. I'm sure I've just been incredibly prejudiced. In 100 years' time, people will look back at any videos on YouTube now. We think we're really evolved and progressive. And in 100 years' time, they'll look back and they're like, I was watching a video about women talk about whether women should work or not in the 1950s. And it was like, they were having a debate about whether women should work or not. And one woman's point was, better not to educate women, otherwise she longs for something better. So better that women get no education at all, and then they're happy to clean the house and do the kitchen all day. This was from the 50s, 70 years ago. In 100 years' time, we'll all be racist bigots, prejudiced against AIs, because AIs will have free will and people will think we don't know if they've got consciousness or not. We don't know, but then we'll be all bigots against AIs and be told off for that, the way that we talk about computers and use them. We'll have like a social movement for our computers that will be happening. And then some people will be arguing, oh no, they don't have any free will or consciousness. And then others will be like, yes, they do. They should have just as much rights as a human. They shouldn't be our slaves. Then humans will have to go back to doing computers' work. We'll have to have fairness. Enough, as many humans as computers doing certain jobs. And then we'll have their Picards out. No slavery for computers, but we'll most probably have passed that in 100 years. It would just be like, you can't talk about slavery and, oh gosh, I'm sure I'm getting myself in all types of trouble here. I think I have to stop, otherwise, I'm going to be shot. I don't even know what type of trouble I could potentially get myself in, but I'm sure people can think of ways in which I've said inappropriate things. Okay, we'll move to questions. Thank you, Lisa. You're on fire. I love it. I love this subject too. I love your Monty Python expression of what's true and not true. Thanks, Carmela. Hi, Spectre. So looking for new experiences, escaping from what is. Oh, I don't think I said that looking for new experiences is escaping what is as such. I just suspect that most people are motivated by a escape from what is. I love my routine and my simplicity. I love that. I like to do the same things every day. I do have to move quite a lot for work and travel and stuff, but I really enjoy I even enjoy the routine of traveling, actually. I like the sameness of it. Like, now we get a cup of tea. We get a cup of tea, and then we go to the toilet before the aeroplane goes off. All those types of things. Hey, Thomas. Not perfect video quality. Yeah, I don't know if it's perfect now. It says it's going quite well. We're doing better. Can you explain what it is the difference between romantic love and unconditioned love? Are there feelings in both? Unconditioned love is who you are. Romantic love is normally dependent on the way the other person is. So unconditioned love is this. Unconditioned love is who you are because it accepts everything beyond the human's capacity to accept. It accepts everything the human does. It is who you are. It's this emptiness, it's this consciousness that never judges anything. So right now, there is a consciousness of this chair, there's a consciousness of this wall, or perception of this wall and the chair and me. You might be having judgments towards me, but in the background of that, there is this wall in which there is no judgment. It's just a perception happening. And that's who you are, and that's unconditioned love. It also has a sense of love in it, this sense of existence, this sense of being. And that's unconditioned love. No matter what your partner does or looks like or behaves like or does, that unconditioned love loves and shines through no matter what. And the less that you're identified with the person, the more the person lines up with that. So the person has, so if there's a knowing of who you truly are and this expansion happens back into who you are, then the person lines up more in it, is in it doesn't hold on to things so much. So it's just letting go. The person is less interested in what it can or can't get from something. Romantic love is about you. You. So romantic love is about you having someone and you liking someone. And there's nothing wrong with a romantic love. Like, I'm not suggesting that we all just go out with somebody that we're not attracted to or don't find funny. Romantic love is specific on the human level. So you're not attracted to your dog, hopefully. You're attracted to or to the llama, your next door neighbour's llama, hopefully. You're attracted to someone maybe your own age because you've got a lot in common, somebody in which you have the same humour, somebody in which your personalities get on together, you have the same ideals, you have the same interests, and physically, which I think is to do with smell, you guys meet together as well. And that's obviously based on the person. That's a personal thing. But when you believe that freedom is in that person, so freedom being the empty looking, the consciousness, so when you think that that person is going to give you happiness, that is going to lead to disaster because they are going to disappoint you or you're going to disappoint them. And that's that. So best if you, find somebody that's enlightened, and then you can never disappoint them. Just momentarily, you mess up the house, and then momentarily they're disappointed, and then they've forgotten. They're over it. They're not keeping a scoreboard. It's disappointed me then. It's disappointed me then. Then. That's what often people do, is they keep a scoreboard. Always with the tongue out, you see. I'm just being a bit sarcastic. I don't know why I get like this. I do apologize. It just comes out, you see. But I presume it's put in spiritual terms. It's God wanting there to be a bit more humour in the dry non-duality that can be talked about, or this very religious, like I do like some parts of religion and romantic stuff, but it's very religious side, or this very dry side, or very intellectual side. It wants a different way of it being expressed, where there's a lot of mocking of it, or not mocking of non-duality, but mocking of the person maybe. But it's not personal. There's not anyone that I have in mind when I'm saying it. I'm just talking generally about the whole of human population and some animals maybe. Sorry, I'm such a banana. My humour is very abstract as well. I put a poem out on Facebook yesterday, and I realised that most people weren't into that type of stuff. And I like really abstract poetry or art or videos that comedy. I remember once watching this Dutch comedian that talked about it's too abstract to tell you. If you're Dutch, I've forgotten his name as well. He was so abstract. I found him so funny. So those are the differences between romantic love and unconditioned love. Hi, Adbor. Hi, Lisa. The person seems to be oscillating between clarity and depressive thoughts, and it's using non-duality as excuse that nothing matters. This leads to a life without any organisation or achievement in the human level. Is my mind simply stuck in a negative belief system? I'm faced with great desires, ambition versus negativity and self-sabotaging. By the way, love your posh English accent. Thanks. They do. It does come across a little the English, the posh does become a little abstract. Yeah. So that is on the human level. My mind is stuck in negativity, or it's sabotaging and negativity versus ambition and desire, and it's oscillating between the two. Ultimately, neither of those are going to bring you freedom. So big achievements and doing things isn't going to bring you freedom, and negativity and sabotage isn't going to bring you freedom. We're quite clear about that one. The negativity and the sabotage isn't, but when it comes to the other side, we're like, that could give me something. Really, what you look for is what you are. But that manifests in a human. So as that begins to be realised, and then there is that movement back to who you are, the human tends to be fairly positive because and not stuck in depressive negativity. It can have negative stuff coming up, but it tends to be more vital because you're connected again to that love of who you are, or there is this remembering of this love of who you are. So the human tends to want to be quite jolly or positive. But it doesn't mean that you don't have old patterns, but being stuck constantly in that tends to mean that in you there is still the belief that getting somewhere is going to give you something, and there's too much investment in those two worlds. And when you're stuck in the negativity, you're going to feel depressed, and when you're stuck in the high one, you're going to feel activated as if you want to do something, and it will give you lots of energy to do something, and you'll feel really motivated to do it. I'm going to win the lottery, or I'm going to be the boss or the manager at work in the next year. You'll feel very like there's lots of energy, and then you'll fall into the other one and you'll feel very low energized. And that's more of a personal thing that you can balance out. But really what you look for is the emptiness of who you are. You're not going to be satisfied really in that world. And you can balance the negative out by exploring the negativity. So what those thoughts say and what they believe. And then you can, when you're in them, move them to more positive. The thing is why you swing so much is when you're in the positive, you really believe that that's true. It's really taking a grip on you. So you swing. Realizing though it's not in the positive, it's not in achievement, though, isn't meant to be depressive. It's beautiful. It becomes depressive when the negative side of you owns it, when that one that feels stuck or hopeless owns it and makes it something that belongs to you. Thanks, Abdul. Hi, Dewey. Hi, Felix. Raphael. Hi, Bia. Hi, Mansour. Ah, nice, Mansour. Hi, Isabel. An elephant and an ostrich. That's a combination. No apology. Thank you for your passion. It gets our attention. I appreciate it. Nice, Chris. Hi, James. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Petra. The Dutch comedian, perhaps Hans Tuan. He's so funny. I'll just quickly look him up. He's so funny. Yeah, that is him. He's so abstract and naughty. I think he made loads of money though and retired. I don't know if he's still working. I can't remember. Yeah, so if you haven't watched him before, and if you've got a if you're feeling very spiritual at the moment and don't watch him. If you're like but if you're feeling naughty and just want to cry with laughter, then Hans Ti-woon. I'm sure that's a Hans. The Dutch like speaking with the back of their throat. I don't know how you say that. Ti-yoon. Ti-hoon. I know it's going to be, because it's got a U in it, so it's got a Ti-hoon. Hoon. So there's no questions yet, so there's no questions anymore, so I'm going to go to YouTube to address some of the chat stuff. We are taught and get our impulses to gather experience to add on to ourselves. When we are already the essence of perfection itself, one might come to peace within the experience. Yeah. I think that's the point more than anything, is enjoying the ride rather than the destination. That's the point. Can you talk on addiction and therapeutic process? I felt last night as I was disappearing, though this violent clinging is coming up. Addiction and the therapeutic process. I'm not an expert on that. I can give it a shot. Addiction and the therapeutic process. I think addiction is actually a physical thing. I think alcoholism is genetic. Actually, it's not a. I think it can be caused in life, but I think it's heavily genetic. Addictive behaviors. Um, and most probably added to with the seeking energy, like this belief that one day you'll arrive in that addictive behavior. But I don't think you do. I think most of the time it's like you believe you'll arrive when you finish the addictive behavior. I mean, I think a lot of the time if you're a drug addict or alcoholic or something like that, then it's just about taking away that pain of the present moment. And it's an addiction. Like your body is addicted to it, and then when you take it, it takes away your problems, especially if you're a drug addict and maybe alcoholic, because you forget yourself. So there's a part of it that makes you feel really comfortable with whatever's happening, because you don't know who you are. You've completely forgotten that you've got a life and kids, or you've got to do something, you've got responsibilities. You're like, that's all gone. But I think there is a very strong physical component with it. And I think, though, the problem with addiction is that it wrecks your body, and it can wreck other people around you, because you stop participating properly in your life. And if you've got kids and a wife, or kids, or a husband and kids, or you've got a family that you need to support, how can you do that if you're drunk all the time? Your body becomes wrecked and you become dependent on other people. It's very destructive in the family system. But I suspect that, so there's the genetic component, and then there's the sense of it. You stop existing when you're drunk. You can't be there. You can't think about yourself. Or when you're high. So there's that element to it as well. There's something like a eating disorder. I'm sure there's addiction there, and then there's also this sense that one day you'll start your life when you're thin enough, or when you have a good shape, and it becomes a fixation. And then you're never going to start your life. Once you become slim, your mind will fixate on something else, or you'll kill yourself from becoming too slim or making yourself ill. I don't know if eating disorder is addictive. I know that bulimia is addictive. Addiction-based. Yeah. So the therapeutic process, I think that something like AA works very well from people, from reading about it and understanding it in a limited way. I've heard that works really well for people. And there's a nice element to it, because it's, you see it's all God's will, and you give it all to God. And if you've got a creative mind, then you can sort of put that with non-duality. You can see how that also fits with non-duality. And there's another speaker that teaches AA. His name is Paul Hederman, I think, and he's written a book on AA and addiction and non-duality. So if you do have addictive personality, that's something that you could read. Yes, like all addictions or obsessions, compulsions, it is truly about escaping from reality of what's happening right now, and thinking that you have a lack of love. It fits perfectly with non-duality, or AA, which is spiritual component. Lisa, what about feeling your body in love with yourself. Maha Mudra, cosmic orgasm. I don't know about that. I don't know what that is. Masra, it sounds fantastic. I will take one of those. From what I know about tantra is, I think there's lots of different schools, but the essence of tantra is remembering that you are love, this emptiness that appears as everything, and that is home, and that's all you ever look for. And maybe that's what Mahamudra, cosmic orgasm, is knowing yourself. Hi, Lisa. Lisa, yesterday I was watching Muji, and it all lined up. I can see how nothing will ever work to fix me, and there is no me. Though this tremendous physical fear came up, and the mind has been talking me into trying to slow down and meditate and have therapy, etc., etc. As I still recently have been struggling with addiction, it is scary and doom, like, and hilarious at the same time. Yeah. Yes. If you're still struggling with addiction, I would, I think about doing something like AA and that type of therapy. If you've got an addictive personality, and it's very strong and it hasn't been treated, and you want to stop, then it's better to be around other people, I think, than to try and get this hardcore mind, like, I'm going to sit at home and I'm going to meditate and I'm going to slow down, and then you've got all the temptations around you to do it. Hi Lisa, I'm a long time in AA if someone ever needs support or information. Thanks Petra. Yeah, if anyone wants Petra's details, or you want to give your details to Petra so she can write to you, that's great. James, if you want more information. I don't have any problems. I drink my bottle of vodka every day without any problems at all. Hey Lisa, when in London is your London? Hi Lisa, when in December is your London event happening? Oh, I just meant an evening talk, not an event, just an evening talk. That would be the end of December, around Christmas time, when I'm back. How do I overcome the desire from porn? Been addicted my whole adult life and want to overcome it. This is how I would work, is first of all, you have to really commit that that's what you want. Like, you have to be all in that that's what you want, is that you really want to give something up. Like, so you've energetically got to feel that. And then I would explore what it is that you like about it. Barry Long's got some nice videos out about sexuality and tantra. You could watch those. I'm not necessarily against all pornography. I think that it can be helpful in relationships, and I don't think there's anything wrong with exploring and having, like, I'm not this person that has really closed ideas about sexuality, like, but I also think if you repetitively are watching like violent porn or aggressive porn, then that can't be good for your brain or your relationship, because your partner won't excite you anymore, because it's like rewarding yourself by orgasming to this very heightened pornography and training yourself to like that. So your partner's body or the feel or the look won't be so exciting, which is sad for her as well. I think it's not so easy. I think you have to really like explore that subject, not it's something you'd have to explore. I'm happy to explore it with you. I have no qualms about exploring that, but obviously not publicly. I think it'd have to be a one-to-one subject. One-to-one, like a one-to-one session. Like, and you just gradually explore, you unpick things. So this is what I predominantly do in my sessions with people, is sometimes we talk about non-duality, but often what I'm doing is helping people just unpick and get to know themselves and just have that reflection back to them. So it's like, well, why do you feel like that? Why do you behave like that? Why are you doing that? And just looking at it, but looking from a feeling body, and then seeing that actually what they truly want underneath all of that is just to be home right here now. They don't want this big orgasmic high. They just want to feel like they're at home. Like, what is it that you get out of it? Hi, Carol. I'm in a 12-step model. It seems such a personal pursuit, thus being hilarious. Yet another aspect is saying it's unresolved and needs to be honored. Yeah, don't give up AA. It's an addictive mindset that does, because what happens is you get into non-duality and you're like, I don't need that anymore, and then you start thinking about alcohol, and I've seen it happen lots of times. To addicts, it becomes another excuse. And yeah, it is a personal thing, but that's okay. If the person's an addict, it has to go and deal with being an addict. Non-duality is beyond that. People are like, yeah, non-duality isn't a personal thing. I'll just give up this. I'll give up being a father. I'll give up supporting this. I'll give up being a wife. I'll give up giving this. I'll give up and then the life becomes very chaotic. It's a false thing. It's the mind owning it. Okay, there seems to not be any questions left. So I think that's the end of the talk tonight. So behind addiction, this is from Judy, is some deep emotional feeling that you're avoiding, and until you explore that emotion and feel into it, it will exist, no matter if you stop the addiction temporarily. Yeah, I believe that addiction is also a personalized thing, but it also, I think, is genetic as well. There's this two things that it is. There's a genetic component where people have a predisposition to it, and then there is the seeking energy that believes that can't bear being present, can't bear what's happening, and needs a high, or believes that when it achieves it, it will arrive. Those are two things. Does enlightened being feel the burden of responsibility? I think that enlightened being there isn't an enlightened being. That's a fantasy that you have. Who gets enlightened? Who is enlightened? Who? Everything is enlightened. It's just that some people have a story believing that they exist as a separate entity. You've always been experiencing. There's always been consciousness here. There's always been perception, no matter what. But in that, a dream appears of somebody that claims, this is my life, I own it, and off I go. A person feels responsible. Yes, that's part of being a person. Whether the person finds it as a burden or not, more than likely, the more that they don't find it a burden as such. It's responsibility, and responsibility can be painful and immensely pleasurable. But you're no longer looking to the end of responsibility. Like, so when I'm not responsible anymore, I can be happy, I can be free. Freedom is. So the seeking energy in that person falls out, like that something's going to get me there. Do you do talks in France, Lisa? Yes. Do them in Paris sometimes, and I'm not opposed to doing people coming to my live streams and that sort of thing. I'm not opposed to it. So people have come to my house sometime and I've done talks. But I don't advertise it very much or anything. And I'm not opposed to doing longer talks here where I live. It's very beautiful and people like to come here. Hi Lisa, I did a Google check and it said you started at 6 p.m. French time, and as the UK is an hour ahead, I thought you started at 7 p.m. UK. The UK is an hour behind, not ahead, behind you. So at the moment, the UK is in GMT, and France is GMT +1. We're not -1, we're +1. So if it says +1, then that means you're behind. I know. Do you know the English? So I do so many different time changes and I'm fine with it. But the English to France one always gets me as well. I go back to England and I can't get it. I'm always getting confused between the English and the French one. I don't know why. That gets me. But the other ones, America, Australia, Asia, I kind of have that. But the English and French one, is yeah. Hello, Charlie. I didn't answer it yet. I did answer. Okay, guys, well, that seems like it's the end now. There's no more questions. Jacqueline says, no, alcohol is not a biological requirement, obviously. Actually, Jacqueline, I think it's not a requirement, but our ancestors used to eat rotten fruit off the floor. Silly ancestors. So humans do have a tendency towards alcohol addiction, as in monkeys and some other animals and mammals as well. I can't remember all of them. I think even some birds have an alcoholic tendency. I think that we have a genetic tendency towards it. I could be wrong, but there's just from research or information that I've gathered. I haven't actually physically tested bodies for it, but it made sense that we ate rotten fruit and therefore have a tendency towards alcohol. But it's not a requirement, we don't need it, but this is where the addictive behaviours come in, where it becomes genetic. And I also have some friends of mine whose parents are alcoholic, and I know that they also struggle with the tendency towards alcoholism. And monkeys apparently can be alcoholics as well. Who would have thought? And birds, I think it's birds, and some other mammals, but I don't know. I mean, all this scientific information, they'll discover something else which will prove everything wrong. I'm open to I don't know as well. Anyway, thank you very much. I love you lots. I won't be here on Wednesday, but I will be here next Sunday. Thank you very much. Namaste. Bye, guys.